So on YouTube, there's plenty of content trying to find the worst movies or the best ones. The internet is filled with comparisons of movies. Theatrical movies. Made-for-TV movies are barely reviewed, and they're treated like second-class movies. Today, I'll be standing up for TV movie rights. We'll find and review the worst and the best made-for-TV movies. For our first one, and maybe my most controversial opinion here, the fairly odd movie, Grow Up Timmy Turner, and it's very odd. It starts as Timmy Turner turning 23, and he's still living with his parents, he's unemployed, and gets no hoes. Very relatable to its audience. Not me though. So Timmy Turner has been given fairy godparents that grants him all his wishes, if it's according to the rules. So this movie starts with his birthday pirate battle, and you immediately notice it's massive budget. But you also see the weird CGI for Wanda and Cosmo. I don't know, I'm gonna let it slide. Then Jorgen shows up and says Timmy must grow up. But Timmy, Wanda, and Cosmo, they kind of realize they don't have to leave him if Timmy doesn't grow up. Because the conditions are a child is considered grown up if they move out of their family home or fall in love. So for now, he can keep them. But then we find out he's still in the 5th grade. And we see Crocker as his teacher, and he's the best part of this movie. His performance is so over the top, it's a 10 out of 10 performance. And Mr. Crocker vows to expose Timmy's secret fairy godparent. But Timmy makes him shit his pants. Anyways, it's very weird that Drake Bell's character talks to the little kids. And in the version I watched, it's a bit shorter and it's missing random scenes. One of those scenes is Jorgen trying to shoot Timmy with Cupid's arrow. Mind you, this grown-up Timmy is surrounded by kids, so this could have been really bad. But he misses and shoots a little kid, and he falls in love with the school mascot. Okay. So later on, Timmy is infatuated with Tootie, his childhood crush. He sees her doing an environmental protest, and he kinda saves her. But CEO, evil guy, doesn't like this. And somehow Crocker contacts him, and they team up to take down Timmy Turner. Then you get a montage of Timmy falling in love with Tootie. Also, Crocker and the evil guy have a scene.
I didn't plan that.
Pause. That doesn't happen on accident. Anyways, on a date with Tootie, Cosmo and Wanda try to cockblock and become human. And they're played by George Costanza and Cheryl from Seinfeld. The hell? It's very odd. This is all very weird. Anyways, they kidnap the girl, and Crocker gets the fairies too. And in the limo, they gave the villain a rabbit, and he has the weirdest CGI face I've ever seen. This is a very surreal, odd movie. Then we get to the evil lair, and the villain wishes for an endless ball pit. And the fairies have to listen to him, so he puts Crocker in it. And in the shorter version, there's no scene later on showing that he's alive. So some kids probably think he actually died. Anyways, when Timmy's backed into a corner and the villain is about to win, he decides it's time to grow up and kisses Tootie. So his fairies go away, saving their lives. And that would be an okay ending, but the movie continues. Jorgen comes back and creates a loophole. So even though he fell in love, he still gets to keep the fairies. I did not like this ending. I liked it when Poof sounds like a black man. That is such an odd joke. I like it. But let's be honest, a live-action, Fairly Odd Parents movie would never be good. But I did like the aesthetics, and the sets, and the props. They were all cool. They all had a very unique look to them. So I'm glad this movie doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just a dumb, fun movie. Also, the villain is terrible, but his writing does parallel to Timmy in a couple cool ways. I'm gonna put this in B tier for now. It could change. Now, when I say TV movie, I'm also including extended episodes, like the forgotten iCarly, I Go to Japan. This is a very bizarre movie, and that's saying a lot because of how odd the show iCarly already is. So it starts like most iCarly episodes, with them making an episode of iCarly. That's a bit convoluted. But the gang is invited to a Japanese web award show, where they could win Best Comedy Award. It's a bit ironic though, because this episode's a bit unfunny. But they're only given 3 first-class tickets, and 5 people have to go. So Spencer calls his friend Sako, a sock salesman, to trade the tickets for 5 lower class ones. Now, I'm fine with this premise, but we're over 19 minutes into the movie, and that's all that's happened. This all should have been shorter, but Sako puts them on a cargo plane, and they have to jump out of a plane that's hundreds of miles in the sky and land in the middle of nowhere in Japan. Yeah, it's pretty much nonsense. Then they somehow magically end up at the hotel, where we meet the French guy with his puppet. That's his whole character. He's a French guy with a puppet. Then we meet Kyoko and Yuki, the true competitors of the iWeb Award. And they invited them out to tour Japan. And for the grown-ups, they gave them seaweed massages. This is when it's revealed that Kyoko and Yuki are trying to sabotage iCarly from actually winning the award. This leads to Spencer eating his way out and trying to eat out Miss Benson. Anyways, Kyoko and Yuki leave the iCarly gang stranded, but Miss Benson put a tracker on Freddie, so they find them and bring them back. Now they're finally at the award show, but they can't communicate with the guards to get in, so they break in. But still, the guards stop them. This is when the special gets good. Carly and Sam are trying to explain their situation, and Freddie films it. Everyone does what they're best at, and that's how they win the award show. And that's how they show they're the best comedy trio. The end. Aside from the ending, I did not like this special. There was a few good jokes, but aside from that, it's too long and too nonsensical for me. I'm feeling either D tier or F tier. But there was another travel movie. Drake and Josh go to Hollywood. It starts with Josh getting accepted into a creative writing program, and his prompt is to write about his greatest adventure. But he realizes he's never had a great one. But as he's telling his parents, his sister, no one cares. You low-key feel bad for him, but he becomes very annoying later on. This is when you realize there's no laugh track, and it really hurts the project. So many jokes feel weird with the small pauses after it. They just say a joke and leave space for the laugh track, but there is no laugh track. It's very odd. It feels very weird. But then they set up that Drake needs a new music manager because he wants to be a big musical artist. Josh becomes his manager because he thinks it'll be fun. Then Megan needs a ride to the airport because she's visiting her friend in Denver. So somehow she gets on the wrong flight to LA. I don't understand how this happens post 9/11, but I'll let it slide. But earlier, Megan gave Josh her phone, and now she's in LA with no phone. So Drake and Josh go to Hollywood. Hey, that's the name of the show. On the plane, Josh sits next to this weird criminal guy, and his iPod gets mixed with his. The criminal hacker guy has the US Treasury money printer on it. Don't ask me to explain this. It doesn't make sense. There's stuff on it somehow. Then Josh goes to the hotel to find Megan. But as he goes to the bathroom, there's a record executive, and Josh convinces him to give Drake a big gig. But when he goes upstairs, the criminals find them and want their iPod back. But for literally no reason, Josh fights back. I guess Josh thinks that stealing things is bad, so he has to stop them, and they run away. Right after this, they steal Tony Hawk's car because they need to get away. Yeah, this is not adding up, bruh. And then they have a whole car chase. Then Drake and Josh get kidnapped, and they need to be saved. Back at the hotel, Megan finds the driver's license of the criminal and an address. So she goes there and sees that they're printing illegal money. She calls the police and saves her brothers. But they still need to get to the gig, and Tony Hawk's manager isn't mad about them stealing the car, so he lets them borrow the car they stole earlier. Then they're given a police escort. I don't get why they don't just take them. They don't need the car, but okay, whatever. Then they make it at the last second, and Drake performs a very mid song. It's a very long song, and also Josh randomly sexually assaults a guy for no reason. The end. This movie really isn't that good, but it's trying its best to be pure wish fulfillment for the boys. You get hot girls, crazy car chases, and action scenes. I loved it as a kid, but it's kind of mid. A lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. Why does Josh care so much? It's a victimless crime. And they literally steal a car too, so like, okay. I guess he needs to stop that inflation. He's very against it. Also, I don't get why the prompt isn't a time he was a hero. The movie would have made a lot more sense if that one little change just happened. On top of that, he's had great adventures. But there was some jokes I liked. Like the time they did a failed takedown. That was pretty funny. And I overall liked the whole vibe. Many kids probably loved this, so I'm giving it a C tier. The last one is Halloweentown. It's a great little movie. It feels more like a theatrical movie than the others on the list. It starts with Marnie on her 13th Halloween, and she's surprised by her grandma, finding out she comes from a family of witches, which causes her to follow her grandma to her home in Halloweentown. It's a place where supernatural beings live normal lives with shops and docks and a city hall. Couldn't keep it rhyming. And Grandma says there's an evil spirit that's been making people disappear, but Marnie wasn't supposed to go. So her mom finds her and tries to take her back home to regular town. But when the mayor is introduced as her old partner, as in romantic partner, not cowboys, it's revealed that the mayor is the evil spirit guy, and he freezes her grandma and her mother, and Marnie has to save them all. And with the power of family, they defeat the evil man. Now that plot isn't the greatest, but this movie has so much personality and heart to it. It really shines with this odd cast of characters and lots of great visual gags. The only real flaw of this movie is that the villain and the mom could use a little bit of better writing, a bit more depth, but aside from that, it's clearly S tier and all around great. By the way, we do not critique bad VFX around here, but comment down below if you want me to continue this series and what movies I should cover next. Remember to subscribe and press that new hype button. We don't know what it does, but just press it. Thank you.